Today we're going to take a quick look at St. Francis de Sales and St. Basil to see what each of them has to say about money and material things, how you should use it,
$26,000 for one dinner,
what you should have and what you shouldn't have. We'll start off with St. Basil. He lived around the 300 AD time period, and he was actually born into a wealthy family, so he had material things growing up. He got a little taste of what that looked like. Once he became a priest, there was a famine in the area that he was serving, and he saw firsthand the impact of poverty and the lack of material things and what that meant for people. I'll read a little writing from St. Basil so you can get a glimpse of what he saw. Farmers sit in their fields and clasp their hands against their knees, mourning, weeping for their wasted efforts. They look at their young children and burst into tears. They see their wives and wail with grief as they stroke and caress the dried up crops, racked with sobs like parents who lose their children in the flower of youth. So it's clear that St. Basil had some real experience with the impact of poverty and the pain and suffering that brought on to the people he served. Now, just a little background for St. Francis de Sales. He lived about 1,000 years after St. Basil, and in his time period, there was still a good deal of poverty. Most people were subsistence farmers. But the main political theme during that time for St. Francis de Sales had to do with the Reformation and the division within the church and between Protestantism and Catholicism. All right, so let's start off by looking at the possession of wealth. Here's a writing of what St. Basil had to say about that. The bread you keep belongs to the hungry, the cloak in your closet to the naked, the shoes you let rot to the bare feet. The money you bury in the earth is the redemption and freedom of the penniless. Are you not a robber, you who consider your own that which has been given to you solely to distribute to others?
I have so much cash on hand that I actually counted by weighing it on my bathroom scale.
For St. Basil, if you had extra things, he very much considered that to be theft from those who needed it. So if you had an extra coat in your closet, if you got an extra loaf of bread in your cabinet, for him, he said those things shouldn't be there, and they should be in the cupboards or in the closet of those who don't have one, who don't have that food, who don't have that coat. You know, the funny thing is, it reminds me of something Tupac had to say.
We are hungry, please let us in. We are hungry, please let us in. After about a week, that song is going to change to, we hungry, we need some food. After 2-3 weeks, it's like, give me all the food, breaking out the door. And after a year, you just like, you know what I'm saying, I'm picking the lock, coming through the door, blasting, you know what I'm saying? It's like you hungry, you reached your level, you don't want any more. We asked 10 years ago. We was asking with the Panthers. We was asking with them, with civil rights movement. We was asking, now those people that were asking, they're all dead and in jail. So now what do you think we're going to do?
I'll let you guys do a little homework on the personal lives of each of these gentlemen to see who you think the real OG is when it comes to social justice. All right, so getting back to St. Francis de Sales on possession of wealth, here's one of his writings. You may possess riches, provided that they are not the cause of your ruin, that you do not place your trust in them, and that you use them in charity. Riches are a good servant, but a bad master. Use them generously. Do not let them use you.
Blessed is he who in the name of charity and goodwill shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness, for he is truly his brother's keeper.
So Francis encourages spiritual detachment from material things, not necessarily and specifically that you have to give away the things that are excess for you. On the dangers of wealth, let's take a look at what St. Basil has to say. Luxury renders the soul weak and effeminate and leads to destruction. Now, let's see what St. Francis is saying. Those who are rich in spirit, though poor in worldly goods, are truly rich in God, while those rich in goods but poor in spirit are truly miserable. does appear that there's some differences here, where St. Basil is very much calling for a direct social justice oriented use of wealth and a condemnation of those who do not do that. St. Francis de Sales, on the other hand, very much emphasizes the need for spiritual growth, the spiritual maturity, and that detachment from material things is a requirement in order for that growth to occur.